Good evening, Jonathan. This is my response to your Week 7 post. Um, First of all, long video, but I mean, I'm not saying that in a bad way. I mean, it's good. You covered so much. Sort of the general theme that I wanted to comment on is sort of how you kind of kept coming back to that. You know, Jimmy Carter had weakened America to a certain point, and it's something I hadn't considered in my video, which is why I noticed it in your video. Um, I think that's significant because although I tried to go on and prognosticate, well, maybe this would happen, maybe that would happen, anything that would have happened, anything, whatever anybody's saying, of all the videos I've watched this week, anything that would have happened probably would have been temporary because if you weaken America as much as he was, and had he had another 4 years to continue to do it, then why is anybody going to listen to you? I mean, what if you get to a point where America is so weak militarily that Israel and Egypt go, you know what? Why are you even leading on this issue anyway? You don't even have, you're not even the strongest military. The Russians, we want the Russians in here. Get the Russians in here. Let them negotiate a peace if they want to. And then maybe the Russian version of negotiating a peace is picking a side and annihilating the other. And what is the U.S. really going to do about that? I haven't looked up our military numbers from 1980. I don't know exactly how strong the military was, uh, but because the Cold War was going on, I imagine we were focused probably more on strategic nuclear type things you can't really use in a situation like that. And maybe the Russians wouldn't have done anything because of the Cold War, and you don't want to trigger nuclear war. But quite honestly, you know, I was not alive. Again, I was a very young boy at that time. I was two, I think, when Reagan got elected. So, but I imagine that with given enough time, the Russian uh, president, the head of the USSR, would have probably started to realize slowly but surely that Carter was not going to use a nuclear missile. So, I mean, like Hitler, who said he was very scared when he invaded France, because at that when he first invaded France, when he moved forces into the Rhineland, he was at his militarily at his weakest at that point. That was the point where he should have and could have would have been stopped. So perhaps the head of the USSR, would have seen, like, let me kind of make a bold move. Let me just take over Israel because I don't take their side. Let me just take over Israel and see what Carter does. You know, because maybe that triggers global war. But if you read Carter and if you got 4 more years to sit there and go, I'm trying to feel this guy out, I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he's got the, I don't think he's got the stuff to do it, for lack of a better word. So I think that's interesting. I think that's really interesting that you pointed out that because we were at least on our way to being militarily second rate, perhaps we would have lost a leadership role. Of course, we're prognosticating. We'll never know. Things didn't go the way that we're trying to make up that they did. But who knows? Maybe that's a maybe that maybe Reagan really was the right president at the right time. You know, as I believe other presidents have. I believe George Bush was the right president at the right time for 9/11, and you know, and I think that Mitt Romney would have been the right president at the right time in 2012. Not that I was a giant Romney fan or anything. I think it would have been better. So, going back to the Carter administration, I mean, when we try to imagine how history would have gone, it's difficult to see, but when you see the type of president that Jimmy Carter was, you have to assume that that maybe a weak militarily U.S. wouldn't have been the most effective thing to get things done long term, even though maybe he got a temporary peace. Thanks for your video. See you next week.